and welcome back to the Jet Press Podcast. My name is Justin Fried, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friend, Mike Luciano. Mike, happy Halloween, buddy. First of all, we got a couple days until Halloween this Friday, and I'm feeling, I don't know about festive, but I'm feeling good because this is our first post-win, post-victory midweek show that we have done of the season. Hopefully, there are more to come. How you feeling, buddy? What's going on?
Well, I need to recover because that was so loud it blew out the audio on my computer first. I think I had the computer at like max volume for some reason.
Wait, me?
Yeah, then I heard hello, and then everything went crazy. So
Hope it wasn't as loud for others.
I'm gonna go reorient myself there. Yes, we have to talk some Jets trades though, because one win is one win, but they are 1-7, which means they're probably going to be selling at the trade deadline. And we'll get into pretty much 6 or 7 different guys who could be traded away from the Jets, at least have a non-zero chance of being traded away. But also, as the Jets have shown, they'll buy if the price is right. Jawan Briggs, Jason Brownlee, how both of those trades looked so far. Look like huge wins for Darren Muji.
Yep.
So we'll get into some guys that could end up coming to the Jets via trade. Maybe they're free agents that they want an extended look at, or to-be free agents that they may just extend before they hit free agency. Maybe it's more Brownlee, Briggs trades of role players who could come in and fill a very specific role this team has been lacking. We'll get into all that. As always, you know where to find us on Apple, Google, Spotify, Overcast, wherever you get your podcasts. We are there. And we're on YouTube. You can like the stream. You can subscribe. All that is over there. You could make sure you get that number 1 ranking in the chat. I don't know how that system works, but you can get XP if you chat more. And I've been told that that's cool. You can hype the video if you're allowed to. Again, I don't know how that system works, but I assume if you get hyped more, it's probably good for your video. So that will help us go up the chart. Real YouTube SEO knowledge on display here.
Why do they got to gamify everything? Why has everything got to be a game?
Because that's the only way people respond to information now. So you got to rank things in points and shoot it up and things. So
I guess so. Really quick before we get started, I wanted to give a quick little shout out to my mom. Mama Fried is recovered in the hospital right now. She had foot surgery. She's all good. Everything's great, but she is, I think, watching this probably from her hospital bed. I just visited her yesterday. She's doing all right. So shout out Mama Fried. I hope you're feeling better. There you go.
Let's hope this is better entertainment than whatever, like Today or whatever on NBC in those hospital rooms. Let's hope we give her the entertainment that she needs. Good that Mama Fried is doing.
Yeah, that place good. That place she's in is okay. It's all right. The food there is not very good.
Well, you're not putting her in the primo spy. Where are you putting her, Justin?
It was not up to us. It's like a rehab facility connected to the hospital.
My cousin knew a guy. He's got like a 18-wheeler out in the back.
Yeah. We just got her out in the shed, actually.
She just passed her phlebotomist exam. She's done like 3 so far. No one's complained.
Dude, she sent me, they served her a grilled cheese, and it was not grilled. It was just 2 slices of cheese in between pieces of bread.
Let's call it a cheese sandwich.
But they called it grilled cheese. It was called
lightly grilled cheese.
Like this hasn't been grilled. This is just cheese.
Very lightly grilled cheese. Brian Sternbeck, odds of a trade breaking during the show. It's happened before. Yes, it has.
It has. Elijah Moore during the show?
Elijah Moore was during the show. Denzel Mims was like an hour before the show.
God, it almost makes me want to talk about the guys they could trade for first. But we'll start with the guys that the Jets could trade away. Maybe it will be a wide receiver. But let's first talk about a different position. How I want to do this, Mike, and we talked about this before the show. Let's look at why we're going to take a look at a few players in Jets roster that could be traded, guys who have popped up in trade rumors, and we'll look at why the Jets should trade them, why they should not trade them, and then make our overall prediction about whether the Jets will trade them. Let's start with the guy that is probably first and foremost in the minds of most fans around the NFL and most Jets fans. Let's start with Breece Hall. We've talked about Breece a lot on this show over the last few weeks and honestly months, dating back to even the draft. There were conversations about Breece Hall's future in New York, if he'll be traded, if there are going to be any, conversations there. I am still of the belief right now, like if I were to make a prediction, which I guess we are right now, my prediction would still be that Breece Hall is traded. And it's not like a, 80-20 thing. It's more like 55-45 probably, if anything. Let's start with the argument of why they should keep him. And we've talked about this a lot. The Jets are a team that lacks playmakers just in general, right? Both now in the current roster and looking ahead to 2026. Braylon Allen's injury complicates the matters because you have Isaiah Davis essentially as RB1 if you trade Breece Hall. And while I am captain of the Isaiah Davis fan club, and I think he's a very good running back who will have a long career in the NFL, trusting him to be RB1 for the rest of the season with Khalil Herbert Kene Nwangwu, whoever the hell else you're throwing out there, is not an ideal plan. And then when you're looking to 2026, if you are going to draft the rookie quarterback, which the Jets likely are, at least that's what the assumption is right now, taking away one of his best playmakers and not having a set in stone plan to replace said playmaker may not be the best strategy. So that would be the plan or the argument to keep him. The argument against keeping him would be that, well, I don't know if the Jets are going to re-sign Breece Hall, and I'm not sure they want to pay what he is going to be worth or what he's going
What's the franchise tag
asking
for a
for.
running back?
So that's a conversation actually I want to have because we haven't talked about that. I think it's going to be around 14 million next year. They could also transition tag, which is 11 million. The transition tag, of course, gives rights to other teams to negotiate with Breece Hall, but the Jets are able to meet or match that offer if they see fit. So that's another thing they can look into. Maybe they look into the transition tag. Franchise tag's a bit pricey, but it's not unreasonable. Where if they tag Breece, I think it is a reasonable thing to believe it's possible that they could franchise tag Breece Hall. But yeah, the argument against is if you don't plan to keep him and you don't think he's worth that, and you don't think you're in a position to be paying a running back a lot of money right now, which valid, you're likely not competing even next year for a deep playoff run. I mean, maybe you can, if you catch fire with a rookie quarterback, maybe you can make some noise, but I don't think people are expecting this team to be contending for a Super Bowl in the next 2 years, maybe 2-3 years from down the line if everything goes right. So maybe you're not in a position to pay a running back. And if that's the case, probably better to just get something for him, because I don't know if you're going to be getting any comp picks, because the Jets probably are going to be paying or spending some money in free agency. So there's valid arguments both ways. We've looked at both perspectives of it. I'm still leaning towards them trading him, but there was a report that came out today. I think it was ESPN, Dan Graziano, Jeremy Fowler, that reported that maybe there's a little less momentum there, and the Jets are they're looking at what they can get for him, but they're not going to just give him away. Was kind of the takeaway that I had. Like, I think if teams are offering a fifth, I don't know if they bite on that. If the teams are offering a third, now we're talking. I think they might bite on that. But what are your thoughts, Mike? What do you think of
Breece has played well enough where I don't think he operates like most other running backs. If they had most other running backs in the league, I don't think this conversation's nearly this thorough. I think you get rid of them for whatever you can, maybe a fourth probably, and then you just reset the position a little bit after. Breece has been so good, in my opinion. I mean, 5 yards a carry with stacked boxes all the time.
Yeah.
Because they just, up until last week in week 1, didn't have a passing game really at all. Like Denver, they did not have a passing game the entire game. And Breece was still making some level of plays there.
For all but like 2 games this year, they haven't had a passing game.
So I think because of that, if you look at the free agent market, I get why Breece is going to ask for top dollar. I don't think he's going to get it. If you could transition tag him at 11 or even pay him like 12, so 336, I think that's perfectly fine for Breece Hall, like a guy of Breece Hall's level. For a team, and I've mentioned this before, this has always been my point of view. It's not even just this year, because if Isaiah Davis, if something happens to him, God forbid, then you literally don't have any running backs, and the whole identity of this team is running the ball. That's bad enough. But if you're drafting Fernando Mendoza or Dante Moore, Ty Simpson, or Lenore Sellers, you're selling them on. They're like, I don't think this situation for a rookie quarterback with Breece is like Cam Ward with the Titans, where you're throwing him into a meat grinder.
No,
I really don't think it's
definitely better. And you could add a wide receiver too in the offseason, which we assume they will.
Exactly.
Case,
so
yeah, it's not bad at all.
I wouldn't want to take away from that by just saying, all right, let's get rid of your running back who's good for 1,300 yards from scrimmage every year. Like, who's going to touch the ball 20 times a game? Don't go with him. Let's go with unproven Braylon Allen, largely unproven Isaiah Davis. That's a tough sell. The only way that I think the Jets can really get adequate value for him at this point, because nobody's going to give him a third straight up. And again, they don't have a third because Hassan Reddick, thank you, Joe Douglas, is if they get like a conditional fourth where it becomes a third, if he goes crazy and meets a bunch of incentives or minimum requirements, then it turns into a third. I could see that appealing to Darren Muji. Because a third round pick in a draft that this class is very bad for a couple of different positions, like wide receiver, it's not great at the top at least. It's not very good at interior offensive line, which the Jets don't really need, in my opinion, if they keep the unit they have, which I think is possible. It's not great for, I would say, running backs. Where it's stacked is pass rusher. It's not good for cornerbacks, but it's also good at pass rusher. It's good at linebacker. It's good at interior D line. You can get guys there without having to pay in free agency.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, I say all that to say I probably wouldn't trade Brees, but everybody's got a price. I think because of the dearth of options out there for running backs, I think somebody might get desperate enough to meet that price. But what Muji's got to avoid is just selling just to sell or selling because, well, we're 1-7. Let's get picks back. Because if he does that and then he doesn't get adequate returns for Brees, well, you got to replace him anyway. And you just let a 1,300 yard from scrimmage guy in his sleep walk out the door. And now you have to build your offense out of Josh Reynolds or Alan Lazard.
Might as well be.
Choice routes. Hey, Arian Smith is apparently the best separator in the NFL. So
I guess so. You could have fooled me. I don't even see him on my TV screen every Sunday.
Yeah. So outside of that, like it'll be tough, and I really hope he resists. But I think without a ton of other running backs outside of Brees, I think he might just get beat down and give in.
Yeah, we'll see. Got a couple of really good comments here. Again, I think this is one of the more split, like legitimately split decisions that I've seen the Jets have like face in years, where it's like I can genuinely fully understand both perspectives, and I don't think there's a right answer necessarily. Brian in chat said transition tags are pretty rare. They are. There was one last year, right? Who was
it
was
didn't
one
the
guy
Ravens do that with Lamar, I think?
Maybe there was another guy I think that was transition tag last year. I think
you're right. There was.
I forget who it was, but they are very rare. Brian said this feels like a situation where it might be used. Can't get a comp pick if a player signs with a different team, but this offseason can't operate like that. Yeah, I don't think the Jets are really going to be concerned about comp picks because they're likely going to be spending more than they lose in free agency, especially if they trade a couple of these guys. Like Quincy might make good money in free agency, but if you trade him right now, you're not going to end up getting a comp pick for him. So I think they're kind of operating under the assumption they're not going to be getting comp picks. So that, like you said, won't super matter too much. Another one from Brian before I get to this other one.
Really quick, Justin, there's been exactly one transition tag contract since 2020. That can't be right.
Wait,
there's been two since 2020.
Who are they?
One of them actually was in the news recently, and one you're never going to get.
Well, the one recently I probably remember. That was who was it?
That was in 2024.
I don't remember. I remember there was one last year. That's what I was saying. Who was it?
Well, not in 2025. There wasn't.
2025 is this year. Oh, well, okay. Last off. Yeah, okay. So 2024 offseason. Who was it?
Kyle Duggar.
Yes. I 100%. And he just got traded. Who was the other one?
The most recent guy before that, you're never going to get it. He was a running back too.
Oh, Brian. Did Brian just say it in chat?
Brian got it.
Wow. Kenyon Drake.
2020, but yes, Kenyon Drake.
I don't remember Kenyon Drake getting transition tagged.
By the Cardinals of all teams.
I do. That's right. I do remember Duggar getting tagged or transition tagged. I remember that. There was a lot of discourse about like, what the hell does this even mean? But yeah, it is a very rare occurrence, but it could make sense here. Brian also said in chat, assuming Brees plays like he has pre-bye, of course, if he plays like he did in Cincinnati, it's a franchise tag if you can't get a deal done. Yeah, I mean, he might play himself.
He's not going to get 130 yards every year. I'd love it if he did, but
right.
I gotta.
And then this other one from Trexter said, I wouldn't trade Brees. I do understand why people think we should, but it's a matter of preference in this case. For me, he's the kind of player that you make the effort for him to stay. You could definitely argue that. And again, I'm not necessarily pro trade Brees for just anything. I think
I'm also not pro, well, he's a running back. You can just get one later. Like, you can get running backs later, Isaiah Davis. Like, you can't get Brees Halls later.
No.
That's the problem. I think, like, he's not, I don't think, in the elite tier, but he's certainly above the replaceable running back tier is a little thicker than the replacement receiver, replacement quarterback, replacement pass rusher, whatever. Brees is above that. You can't operate like like Chuba Hubbard or something like that. You can't operate like that.
Which I take back my Chuba Hubbard take from a few weeks ago. But how about my Rico Dowdle? How about my Rico Dowdle take though? That one's age. Yeah, I think I'd have to rank them, like actually look at all the running backs in the league. I'd probably put Brees, where would you say? Like somewhere between like 9th and 14th best in the league running back, somewhere around there.
I'm gonna say like 10th, 11th. Like you could say he's a top 10 running back.
You could argue that. I mean, we've seen him play at a top 3 running back in the NFL level. We've also seen him play at like the 20th best running back in the NFL level. So it's just the running back position is volatile in nature. But if the Jets do want to be a run heavy team and they do want to surround their rookie quarterback that they're likely to draft with weapons, you can absolutely make the argument for not trading Brees. I will still make my prediction here, say that they trade him, and I will say I think for a 4th round pick would be my prediction. Anything less than that, I'll be a little upset. If it's a
Yeah,
fifth, I'll be upset. Fourth,
I feel like that's what's gonna happen. I don't want it to happen though.
That's valid. That's valid. Mr. Donkey 829 said, "I'm watching a little behind the great work." Mr. Donkey 829.
Mr. Donkey.
He's got to change his name, man. Great work as always, boys. Curious to know if you guys think there's a player the Jets could trade for in a deal similar to Brownlee. Well, Mr. Donkey, I'm glad that you asked because we will be talking about that in a little bit. So stay tuned. That'll be the close to the show. We'll be talking about that a little bit after. Mike, let's talk about a different player here who the Jets could potentially trade. A guy who I think probably has a better chance of being traded. Somebody also on an expiring contract. Let's talk about Quincy Williams, linebacker.
Yeah, or I guess the Williams brothers.
Yeah, we'll talk about both because Quinnen is also in the trade public zeitgeist right now. But Quincy, expiring contract. I think, the argument in favor of keeping him is, your defense has been hit or miss, hot and cold this year. And Quincy brings this level of energy that a lot of guys in that defense cannot provide. You also have a guy in Jamie and Sherwood, who I know you just paid a lot of money to, but he's not had a great year. I think
benched him.
They benched him. I don't know if it was performance based. My guess is it wasn't. I think it was some sort of disciplinary thing, considering it was just for a quarter. I don't know what that was about. I don't think Aaron Glenn.
Either way, the fact he's getting, as you mentioned before, he's getting disciplinary issues. Correct. He's the captain of the defense.
He is the captain of the defense. You just paid him $15 million a year, and you don't really have a viable Quincy replacement. They have Francisco Maligoa, but he is not.
Different skill sets.
Very different skill sets. I don't think he's a starting linebacker in the NFL. I think at best he's going to be a one-down run thumper, right, who could just play on early rundowns. I think that might be his ceiling in the NFL. So you really are going to go into the offseason and for the rest of the year not having two starting caliber linebackers. So that's the argument for keeping him.
If we get Denver Maligoa, maybe, but...
Maybe. The argument against keeping him is, well, on that same side of the coin, you just paid Jamie and Sherwood $15 million a year. It is extremely rare. In fact, there is no team in the NFL that currently pays multiple off-ball linebackers $10 million or more per year. Quincy is likely going to be asking for roughly what Sherwood got, you would assume.
He's better than Sherwood. He might ask for more.
I think he's better than Sherwood. Yeah. So, you'll be paying two guys $15+ million a year. And Quincy, I believe, turns 30 this year or next year. There is not a very good track record of paying linebackers over the age of 30 in the NFL.
And neither of them are like world beaters individually as players.
Now, I think Quincy's a younger 29 or 30 because he doesn't have as many snaps under his belt, but he also throws his body around, and we already just saw him get banged up with a shoulder injury this year. I don't know how he's going to age, especially because so much of his game is dependent on his athleticism. So I think that is the argument against it. My take, Mike, I think he's traded. I think he is the second most likely guy to get traded. We'll talk about the most likely in a little bit, but I think he's traded. The Niners just make so much sense with Fred Warner out, reuniting with Saleh. We know Saleh absolutely adores Quincy Williams. I think that'd be a great landing spot for him. I'd be very happy for him because he'd be on a good team and on a good defense again. So that'd be good for him. I just don't see any world where the Jets sign him in the offseason. And if you're not going to re-sign him, you might as well trade him.
Quincy to the Niners might be the most likely fit.
It's so obvious.
Yeah, it's so obvious. They need a linebacker. Quincy's that good. It's a no-brainer kind of thing.
Yep.
The problem again with I have no qualms about trading Quincy. Years of meritorious service here. Very good player.
Great jet.
Great jet. But sometimes it's just time. And I think it's time. That Sherwood contract is looking worse by the week because I think Aaron Glenn is realizing, and Muji, I think, is realizing too, this might have been his big mistake, that of how scheme-specific he really was to Robert Saleh, and Wilkes and Glenn just aren't going to run that defense here. And I think they're realizing in general how many of the guys on this defense are Saleh scheme, got Will McDonald, Michael Carter, Sherwood, Quincy to a degree. I don't think, even when he's been healthy, I don't think he's been as good as he has in past years.
Well, that was going to be my other point too. Even if they didn't give Sherwood that contract, I still probably wouldn't want to re-sign Quincy. Not in this defense.
Yeah. I mean, not that Wilkes is the barometer of a defensive scheme everybody should try to emulate, but
fair.
It just makes sense. Now, the problem though is this is very unique because he's so tight in with his brother.
Yes.
And Quinnen is a guy, I don't think he gets traded now. I don't want to trade him now. I don't even want to trade him ever. I want him to be a Jet forever. The problem is you're going to have to pay him a lot of money. Now, he deserves it. He's been good every single year he's been in the league. He deserves that money. The problem being there's just no way, outside of a crazy overpay, there literally is no reason for Quinnen Williams to play with the Jets. Unless it's just he's doing a Myles Garrett and just taking the money. Other than that, there's literally no reason. The
Maybe
scheme
he
is
doesn't want
okay
to.
for him. He's doing great as a run defender. It's not getting the most out of him as a pass rusher.
Mm-hmm.
He has not had a winning season in his entire NFL career. He has been through a bunch of different coaches. He already said he didn't love the fact they moved off Aaron Rodgers. He might want to go. If he doesn't want to go, lock him in forever.
Yep.
But I think one of the main incentives for being on the bad team, one of the main reasons I think he's stuck around and has not demanded a trade earlier, which he very easily could have done, is I'm playing with my brother. And if you're not playing with your brother, that complicates things. It really does. Separately, like if it was Quincy Williams and then Quinnen Jones, two separate people.
Sure.
Quincy, trade him. Not even, I don't want to say not thinking about it, but they have an obvious buyer that they can look up with. They could get a good return for him. Malagoa can just hold it down for the rest of the year and you at least see maybe if there's something there beyond just being a backup, and then you reevaluate later. And then Quinnen, you work to extend and make sort of the centerpiece of this defense. But we don't operate in that world. And the Jets really got to consider that. Because if they mess this up and they irritate Quinnen even more, then you lose both Williams brothers. And then we like Harrison Phillips. We like Jawan Briggs. As pass rushers, you put both of them together, they're not Quinnen Williams. In terms of disruptors, they're not Quinnen Williams.
The Jets need to assess their situation and have a pulse on where Quinnen Williams is at right now. Like this is not something they can put off.
He's already tweeting Bible verses in the peace sign.
I don't know if that.
That sounds like a man who seems okay with moving on.
That's usually not a good sign, but they need to have a pulse.
The players only meeting. That's not good.
They need to have a pulse on where Quinnen Williams' head is at right now. I've been saying from the start, I don't think this is going to be a mid-season situation. I think this is much more likely to be an off-season situation, but you need to assess where he's at, because if you have a strong inkling that Quinnen Williams is going to ask out in the offseason, if you trade Quinnen or if you trade Quincy, again, it's not just because of that. Like you mentioned, he's not had a winning season his entire career in New York. There's no reason for him to want to be here unless he's just really happy living in New Jersey with his family. Then sure, man, you could, stay around the Florham Park area if it's a nice neighborhood. But I don't think that he's got the losing season. He's got the losing seasons. He also is now entering a contract. It's not a contract year, but he's got $5 million left in guarantees on his deal. He might either want a new deal entirely, or he'll want the Jets to convert a lot of that money to guaranteed money, which they could do that. That's another option instead of just working out a whole new extension. It just feels to me like an offseason conversation that's going to be had. It feels like to me that the Jets need to know where Quinnen's at right now. But based on the reporting around the situation, I don't think the Jets would trade Quinnen for anything less than one first and then some. I've seen people
I saw the reports. I think Graziano put it well. Everybody's got a price.
Absolutely. Everyone's got a price.
He's not going to get a Micah Parsons haul, but if you get, a first and a player, or a first and a third, or whatever.
If you get a first and a third, that's a conversation. Now we're talking, that's
especially depending on where that first is.
Yep.
I've mentioned the Cowboys before, and the Cowboys are going to come up a lot in this stream in terms of Jets as a trading partner. But if they trade the first that they own, not the one they got from Green Bay and the Micah pick, then you really consider it. Yes. Then I don't know.
Especially if you have any kind of inkling that Quinnen isn't happy and might want out. Because he's going to have some leverage in the offseason. He's going to have some leverage on that, with his contract situation where he's only got $5 million guaranteed left. He can absolutely ask out if he wants to. He can absolutely request a trade. And I don't think this new regime would want to hold him hostage. This is a defensive leader. This is a team captain who has been nothing but a great soldier to this football team for the last, 8 years now, however long he's been here.
At a time when a lot of people could have just said, hell with it.
Absolutely. So I think it's going to end up being more of an offseason conversation. If we're going to put a bow on the Quincy and Quinnen Williams thing, I think I'd put it at 75% that Quincy is traded and 15% that Quinnen is traded, and that 15% is just if a team is desperate enough, maybe Dallas, maybe whoever, reunite with Aaron White-Cotton. Maybe a team comes calling with a ridiculous trade.
I didn't even think about White-Cotton, but yeah.
Yeah, and Solomon Thomas, reunited with Solomon Thomas. Or hell, man, maybe he goes to not San Francisco doesn't need necessarily need a D tackle. They just need healthy bodies. But maybe he follows Quincy. Maybe you literally trade him as a package deal. They just signed Mike Pennell. They don't
You
need
just
him.
bring a
Dude, by the
Megadeth,
way,
Chris Jones, and Quinnen together lineup.
hilarious Chiefs stat that I just saw today. Not that I'm the biggest win rate guy, as you know, but Derek Nottie not only has a 0% pass rush win rate this year, but he has the lowest run stop win rate amongst all qualified defensive tackles.
He might be the worst player in the NFL now.
How did the Jets get
Is that fair to say?
He was like the worst player on the Jets roster in the summer. There were UDF.
Is it fair to say he's the worst player in the NFL right now?
He might be. I don't know how many players are worse.
Jonas Savaiinaea, maybe.
Oh god, we did that deep dive.
Hey, his pass block grade is up to 5 now. It was 2. It's up to 5 now.
He must have had a great week. What was it? Over 20?
Yeah, it was like in the 40s or something against
that's huge. That's
against
huge
the Falcons. Yeah,
good for Big Jonah. Look at Jonas Savaiinaea's PFF grades if you want to laugh. I feel bad for the guy, but it's rough.
J-Mark, really quick. In retrospective, why did it make more sense to sign Sherwood than Williams? Quincy was an all-pro. Sherwood was younger. He was higher ceiling.
Younger is the big one there. Younger is I think the biggest thing. Also, Quincy was still under contract for relative, like a very, very team-friendly deal. Like $6 million a year is what he's been getting the last 3 years. But that Sherwood's contract was up. Sherwood was coming off a season where he got all pro votes. Like I was very high on Jamie and Sherwood. I think both of us were in favor of them re-signing him. I thought that would be, I thought it would be silly to let him walk. I thought they made the correct decision, but, and I want to say this too. I'm not out on Sherwood. I'm holding on to some stock there. I don't think he's a bad player.
He's been better lately.
He's been better lately. The run defense has been good this year, despite what people think. The coverage has just been the issue. And I want to give him time to figure that out. Like I think some of it is just, I don't know. He's just been a step slow to diagnose certain plays or whatever it is. Like I think he's still a good player, and I'm not out on Jamie and Sherwood yet.
Not to go at some of our Minute Media colleagues here, but I don't know if you saw Sports Illustrated's mid-season All-Pro team.
I did. And Jamie and Sherwood was second team All-Pro mid-season according to SI because he got a lot of tackles. So
yes, and his run defense is good.
Yeah.
He got benched the day before that article.
Yeah. Again, I benched, I don't think for performance reasons, but
yeah, even if it's not, like you're not an all-pro. The words all-pro and benching are mutually exclusive.
I think if you asked most Jets fans who the most disappointing player in the roster this year, it might be Jamie Sherwood. Like most.
I think it is. Yeah. How could it not be? In terms of what was expected, he was supposed to be the leader of the defense.
Yeah.
Like Tony Adams, we knew was bad, who's starting again now.
He's now starting because Cisco's out. Well, another Jets player who has had a very disappointing season, who is on the trade block, and I think is probably the most likely player on this entire roster to be traded, it's Michael Carter II. He had the back injury last year, was banged up. Let's rewind even further. At his peak was one of the best nickel corners, if not the best nickel corner in the NFL. 2022, 2023, Michael Carter was fantastic. He got a very well-deserved extension that was, I think it made him the highest paid nickel corner in the NFL.
At the time it did, and then Taron Johnson broke it.
Right, which nickel corners are just so unbelievably underpaid. I don't know when.
Yeah, after this is their big litmus test, and okay, I don't know.
Michael Carter is not the best example of this, unfortunately, now, but I've said this at the time. Nickel defenders in the NFL are vastly underrated and underpaid, and I think the NFL's got to catch up to that. But you got a very well-earned extension, came back 2024, was hurt most of the year, played through it, was trying to play through it, but he would play like a handful of snaps a game, had the back injury. Coming into 2025, the hope was that a now healthy Michael Carter would be able to regain his pre-injury form. That has not happened. He has dealt with a shoulder injury. He's now had a concussion, and when he's been healthy, I think he's been the worst nickel corner in the NFL. I believe
Pro Football Focus has him as the worst.
They have him as the worst. I think out of 114 or so, 113 qualified corners, he is 111th in PFF grade, something like that. He's been abysmal. And on top of that, it's a very poor scheme fit. Like this, he
just can't tackle.
His body cannot hold up in a physical, man-heavy defense. He just can't do it. He's not physical enough to do it. And then on top of that, you bring in Jarvis Brownlee, who is not only a perfect scheme fit, like fits this defense like a glove, but is also balling out there and playing his ass off and is under contract for
and he's got this edge to him.
Yes.
He makes that play. They're asking him about it. That's why they brought me here. I'm like, yes.
Dude, yes. Somebody said after this was Zach Rosenblatt said this, that he caught up with him in the locker room after the game, and Brownlee asked him what time it was. And Zach's like, oh, something like 4:57 or whatever. And and Jarvis goes, oh, I still got time to go watch the Titans lose. Like, dude, like, oh my God.
This guy's great.
More of that, please.
This guy's awesome.
The Jets need more Jarvis Brownlees. He is,
I saw Titans fans were behind him, and then he had that tweet. He said, "I want to thank you for making me a Jet."
Yeah.
Think about how bad that has to be. You went from a 1-17 to another 1-17 when you're like, thank God.
I tweeted out like some PFF stats for Brownlee, and I had Titans fans in the replies being like, God, we're the most dysfunctional organization in the NFL. And I'm like, oh, it's not the Jets. Holy shit. Titans fans are looking at the Jets.
Dysfunctional. They're just like bad, like dysfunction. And
I think they're pretty dysfunctional. That front office.
Yeah, I guess there's a way. The way I think of dysfunction as opposed to just being bad at like drafting players and stuff. I think there's a difference.
I think they fit dysfunction. Like the way that they have continuously, like the GM and head coaches never aligned. They have basically almost like two acting GMs right now because Borgonzi's also in there. I forget the other guy's name.
Chad Brinker, yeah.
Yeah, Brinker's in there too, and they're both kind of running the show.
They both didn't want Brownlee.
Right, apparently so. And now look at Brownlee balling out. But all that is to say that Michael Carter he just does not have a role on this Jets team. He came in and played a couple of snaps last week because Brownlee got hurt, but once Brownlee came back, Carter was gone. I see no reason why the Jets would even entertain keeping Michael Carter if they can get literally anything for him. And I think they could. I think there's enough cornerback needy teams out there that will see that Carter, he's got a good resume. Like a couple of years ago was maybe the best nickel corner in the NFL. I don't think that's just completely gone.
Now he's the worst. That level of fall off.
I think you put him in a scheme that more fits what he wants to do, like a zone heavy scheme. I think it could work. I don't know too much about the scheme that Washington's running over there, but I know they really need cornerback help. I think
Dan Quinn does do a lot of zone. He was like,
there you go. That's right.
Carroll, Seattle cover 3 guy.
Right. So. Of course, Dan Quinn. So I think that's another one. I think that's a landing spot that can make sense. Obviously, everyone's going to be like San Francisco or Atlanta, where he can reunite with Ulbrich or Saleh. I just think he's as good as gone at this point. I don't even, if we're going to do the devil's advocate, the argument in favor of keeping him. Depth, maybe Jarvis Brownlee gets hurt next week and you need a nickel corner.
I'm thinking I think the Lions still do a lot of man, so they'd be a bad fit.
Yeah, but if that's the case, I'd just almost rather play Isaiah Oliver at this point. Like, I don't really think there's an argument in favor of keeping him. I think you probably get a 6th, maybe at best.
I'm fine with that.
Maybe a 6-7 swap, something like that. 6. Sorry, not the 6-7. You know what that is now? Do you know what the 6-7 thing is, Mike?
I mean, like I see it. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what it means though.
All right, it's okay. You don't have to.
Like I just see it. Like
I don't think it means anything. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a thing. But anyway, I think he's traded. I'd put it almost at like
there
80.
Has to be. We can't live in a world of chaos. You have to mean things when you say things.
Have you been on the internet?
I'm in real life and. All right, like kind of a funny story. I'll tell you about that.
Oh, good.
Shout out to little bro Dominic. We're at a dinner, and he starts giggling. I'm like, "What are you laughing at?" He goes, "The air conditioning's at 6-7 degrees." I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Well, it's like okay, and again, it's like the number 69 is funny.
Okay, it's for different reasons.
I know, Mike. I know, but it's funny just because the number has become a funny thing. Like it's superseded what its intended meaning is.
Back to Carter. Like I'm sure Justin, you get asked this like sometimes professionally, where people who cover other teams are just like, "Hey, you've seen Michael Carter more than me." Like they ask for your opinion on guys.
Sure.
And I can't tell you how many times I've gotten messages like, "Hey, is Michael Carter gonna be good?" I'm like, "No, he's not." As Chew donates 5 memberships.
Oh, what a guy! Mother effing Chew.
Shout out, yes, feeling good after a Jets win.
Appreciate it, Mother effing Chew.
Appreciate it. So, like, I'm sure that you get messages like, "Hey, is this guy good? Is that guy good?" Anytime somebody asks me about Carter, I'm like, "Take him, please. I don't care anything."
I know.
Negative asset at this point,
and that sucks.
I feel like not to this level, but. I remember talking to Matt Connor, our Airhead Addict guy, about Derek Nottie when they got him. Because Nottie was supposed to be the starting defensive tackle, if you can believe it. And then he just didn't do anything right. And I got nothing but bad with a bunch of A's. And that's how I feel about Michael Carter. And I didn't want to feel that way about him because he was so good. A homegrown developmental success guy.
Yeah.
Can't play. Can't play anymore.
I still think he can be good in the right system if he's healthy.
He'd be better, but his inability to tackle has gotten so bad after the injuries that you can't hide from that. Eventually, you're gonna have to tackle.
Yeah, I just don't know how much is left. Like he's fit, which is crazy because he's what 26. At most, he's 26, 25, 26. Like he's He's young. He's young as hell.
Connor Long, get more
Connor
scoops to beat Justin Fried.
That's I broke the Brandon Smith thing. Yeah, my biannual? No, that's twice a year, right? Like my annual scoop.
Biannual, I think, is every 2 years, right?
Biennial. My biennial scoop.
I think they're pronounced the same, but one means twice a year and one means every 2 years.
Broken clocks, right? Once a millennium. So that's me on the beat.
But yeah, Carter, if we're doing like percent chances, like 99, there's no reason to have him on the roster. Yes. Not to beat him up a lot, but just it doesn't make sense.
I agree. And I want to see him succeed. I want to see him get healthy because by all accounts, seems like a really good dude. Like you said, it was a very fun and encouraging developmental success story, but he has no place in this Jets roster. Speaking of no place in this Jets roster, Mike, let's talk about Allen Lazard.
Let's talk about Allen Lazard. Who I will give him credit, did not appear incredibly checked out, like he doesn't want to be there against the Bengals.
No,
which is a step up from the last few weeks where he was completely out of it.
I know my lead was guy who has no place on this roster, but let me make the devil's advocate argument for why he does have a place in the roster first before I say he doesn't.
He can block, and that's it.
Yes. That's exactly what I was going to say.
There you go.
He is still the best run blocking wide receiver on this roster, and the Jets seem to really, really value that. Now, he's virtually a nothing as a receiver, and I would not be sad in any way at all if they traded him, and I think it would not be a problem to give more snaps. There is oh, fuck! There was a Jets trade on stream, bro.
What happened?
Sorry, that was my genuine reaction. The Jets are it's John. They're getting John Mechie for Michael Carter.
No, really?
Hold on, Diana.
Right after we did that? You're kidding me.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Bro. The Jets are trading Michael Carter and a 2027 7th-round pick to the Eagles for John Mechie and a 2027 6th-round pick.
How is there always wide receiver news, Mike?
It's always receivers. So he goes back to the Eagles. Joe Douglas connection. Joe Douglas drafted him.
Oh my goodness.
Now here are the problems I have as I go in. I go and get the graphic set up here.
That was a genuine F-bomb. Sorry.
All right, yeah, you had me thinking like something crazy happened.
No, but I was just like, no way. Because I saw the Eagles are sending John Mechie, and I was like, oh, I wonder who they're sending him to. And
John Mechie, who the problem with him is he went to Petty, and I went to Pennington, so that's a problem. But because we're high school rivals.
Was he? I was high school rivals with Jeremy Ruckert, kind of.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. All right. And John Mechie seems like a great dude. So.
Typo in the tweet. I hate when I do that.
So John Mechie, let's talk about him first. So, former 2nd-round pick of the Texans, 44th overall pick actually, plays sparingly over 3 years. Actually, I believe he got diagnosed with leukemia.
Yes.
And he beat leukemia. So hell yeah, John Mechie. But I think he started so far behind the 8 ball in Houston, he just never kind of got into a groove. And Tank Dell was there too, and Tank Dell kind of took his lunch money in terms of his snaps. So then they trade him to the Eagles. Doesn't really fit in there. Now he's on the Jets.
The full trade, by the way, Jets are sending Michael Carter and a 2027 7th-round pick to the Eagles in exchange for John Mechie and a 2027 6th. So the Jets get Mechie and
a better pick.
And the better of a pick swap. Dude, let's go. I mean, is this his last year of his rookie deal, Mechie?
Yes.
I think it is.
No, wait a minute.
Was he drafted 2022 or 2023?
2022, yeah. So this is impending free agent.
He's a pending free agent. Interesting. So, I mean, look.
Now, Mechie
is a young flyer at the wide receiver position.
Watching Mechie, he has like 10 yards a catch pretty much even. At Alabama, he was like a downfield speed guy. He was like a big play guy. Very fast.
Yeah.
Pretty decent size, too. If I'm the Jets right now and I could like make the depth chart, I would probably have Mechie as maybe wide receiver 4 right now. Because, again, maybe this is just me looking at that chart that has captivated me. But I really want to see them use Arian Smith more. I feel like one of Josh Reynolds or Tyler Johnson has to be in to give you some veteran consistency. And then I'm fine with using Mechie after that. I don't think Mechie's going to be on the team for next year. But in terms of just lottery ticket rolling the dice, I have no problem with this trade.
No, not at all. I mean, you get off Michael Carter's contract. I'm very interested to see what they're paying on that.
Will it now be 2 Jets in a row that fail with the Eagles defense?
It could be. This, by the way, back with Joe Douglas, too.
Yeah, that's what.
Joe Douglas making a trade with the Jets.
Are you listening to me, Justin? That's how I led with the.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I was kidding. My bad.
All good, man. All good.
My bad. No, Mechie is a really interesting guy because he's, like you said, he's never really found his footing at all in the NFL. He had the unfortunate medical situation in Houston and then was kind of buried because they brought in, I'm going to repeat what you said, I think, but they brought in a few receivers. So he kind of got buried in the depth chart there, goes to Philly, kind of also buried in the depth chart there, was never really given an opportunity. Undersized guy, probably more of a Z wide receiver, I'd imagine. He's also not like an unbelievable athlete. I think he's a good athlete, but for a guy who's like 5'11", $185,
Mechie or Carter?
Mechie.
I think isn't he taller than that? I remember him being a little bigger.
I don't think so.
He's 6 foot.
I don't think so. Like
6 foot, 195.
I said a little bigger. I said 5'11", 185. It's not that.
First NFL player born in Taiwan, by the way. He's Taiwanese and Canadian.
Huh. Is that like military family, or is he actually
a Nigerian father and a Taiwanese mother?
Wow.
And then he lived in Ghana for a little bit, moved around, this guy.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
what an interesting life.
World traveler here.
And he's had cancer. He's lived like 10 lives. That's crazy. Like, oh my God.
His Wikipedia page is longer than most, I'll say that.
Yeah, and now he's been traded to the Jets. The worst thing that's happened yet.
He does all of that, and it ends up with the Jets.
But no, I remember liking Mechie in college at Bama. And, it'd be interesting to see where he fits in here. Again, I think he's more of like a Z, which it kind of makes him more of like a backup to Garrett Wilson. So I'm not sure where he's going to fit in. Maybe they use him a little bit in the slot. He's a little undersized, I think. I know he's 6 foot, but he doesn't play super big. He's a little undersized for me to be like a full-time outside receiver. So I'd probably use him a little bit in the slot. I know we just talked about Lazard and we're in the middle of talking about him right now, but I'd rather just give some of Lazard snaps to Mechie at this point because Lazard's not going to be here next year. Mechie might not be, but maybe he is. Is he only 25? Probably, I guess. John, how old is John Mechie right now? 25?
John Mechie
probably
is 25,
about that.
Yes.
25, yeah. So, there's the injury history. I think he had a torn ACL in college and then obviously missed some time with the medical stuff.
I just thought of something too, though. If Kenny Nwangwu's hurt, is this a returner? Or is it Isaiah Williams for the rest of the year?
It's going to be Isaiah Williams too, but does he return, Mechie? I didn't even know that.
I think he did. I think they tried to for a while.
That wouldn't shock me.
I think he's
a good athlete
Eagles this year for a little bit.
Interesting. I don't think I knew that. Yeah, I think he's a good player. I think it's absolutely worthy of a flyer. You're getting a guy who's a former second-round pick, right? He was a former second-round pick
overall in the 2022 draft.
Right. So
Brees Hall went 36. John Mechie went 44.
Yeah, you're what I expected them to get for Carter was kind of like we just said it, like a 6th or maybe a 6 and 7.
That's what they got, and then a player. So
they get a 6 and 7 pick swap and John Mechie. So you can't.
Brian Sternbeck says 2027 swap is insignificant unless they decline Carter's option bonus. They're going to be on the hook for slightly more money to Mechie for the remainder of this year.
But for the remainder of this year, I'm not as concerned about it. Obviously, the cap rollover or whatever, but not as concerned about that.
Michael Carter's a better cornerback right now than Mechie is a wide receiver, but in terms of the assets, I think Mechie is a more valuable asset because Carter's contract you have to worry about, and they get a 6 instead of a 7. So,
and positional need. They don't need a corner. They literally just got a much better nickel corner. You definitely need wide receivers, especially Mike. Remember, Josh Reynolds just went on IR. So you don't have your wide receiver 2 for the next 3 games now after this because he missed this past week.
If it comes down to it, though, would you rather get snaps, Arian Smith or John Mechie?
Smith, because he's not an expiring deal. Like you have at least more upside with Smith as far as under team control for the next 4 years. But I'd like to get them both snaps. I'd like to get them both snaps. I'd like to get Tyler Johnson snaps. Lazard. Now I would say I'm more in favor of trading Lazard. Not that I was against it at all. But
there's even less reason for him to be on the team now.
I know the argument still would be obviously John Mechie's not going to help you in the areas that Allen Lazard does. John Mechie is not going to be a particularly great blocker. And now that Reynolds is out as well, there's really not a good blocker on this team outside of Lazard. Even Tyler Johnson's solid at it. He's fine. But like Arian Smith's not a good blocker.
How many 6th-round picks do the Jets have this year? Like 4?
So all those swaps, maybe, yeah. Well, what they gave away. They gave away one.
Oh, that's 2027 anyway, so it won't matter. But
yeah, they gave away one in the Brownlee deal, and they gave away one in the Briggs.
So they're projected for a 5th. They're projected to have a 5th-round comp pick, and then they have 3 6 and 3 7s.
Is that still accurate? I don't even know because they have been trading 6th and 7th round picks like no one's business. They have just been sending them out and in. Like it's wild.
But look,
Right,
I mean,
relax.
would you rather draft a guy in the 6th round or use it on a
No,
guy?
not in a bad. I'm not saying that in a bad way at all.
Brian Sternbeck with some more stuff. He's not saying the trade is bad, but Carter's contract was necessary. If he had gotten injured, the Jets would owe him only about $5 million in guarantees. So yeah, financially, it made sense to get rid of him.
Wow. Well,
I don't know if I like this fit for the Eagles though.
For Carter, well, who's their current nickel? Why am I forgetting that?
DeJean,
because they got. Oh, DeJean plays nickel for them. That's right. So they got Quinion, they got DeJean, and
because I was listening to Fangio. He said straight up there because they were talking about how bad Keely Ringo's been, and he just said straight up, "I'm not putting DeJean outside." So, right. And you were certainly not going to play Michael Carter as an outside corner in a Vic Fangio defense. So,
and they also just drafted McWilliams in the 5th round. He's a nickel guy, if I'm correct.
Yeah, he's a nickel guy too. So
that's another nickel that they got. They have a Dory Jackson as well. But he's an outside guy. He's hurt at the moment. Yeah, it's a weird one.
I don't know. I don't know what they do.
I don't know. I mean, you would think they're moving DeJean outside then because they're not moving Michael Carter outside. Maybe. I mean, they're not.
He's so good in there. Why would you move a guy who's that good at that position to accommodate Michael Carter?
You probably shouldn't.
Ian Rappaport. Sources say he agreed to delete the $5 million guaranteed for injury in his 2026 contract year to go to the Eagles.
Well, just like that. There you go.
That's how badly he wanted to A, get off the Jets and B, get on the Eagles.
It could be spun that way. It could be spun that way for sure.
Yeah. I don't think the Jets are sad to see him go, if I'm being honest.
I am confused. I am also confused at that for the Eagles because they're obviously not moving in the safety either. They got Blankenship and Makuba. Makuba's playing well. Like they're not going to do that. I don't know. Weird move for the Eagles, but hey, I'm happy with the Jets doing that. And you know what? For once, Mike, with one of these,
Brian Sternbeck too says before we finish up on Carter, Carter to safety.
They got Blankenship and Makuba.
Yeah, I think they're fine there.
They're fine unless he's the 3rd safety. Like they're fine there, I think. And they got I don't think they'd move him to safety.
This isn't like super consequential for either team. I'm confused for the fit for the Eagles.
Yeah.
Unless it's just Joe Douglas getting one of his guys again, it might just be that.
Which is funny because he's not even GM. How he's listening to Joe D too much.
He's whispering in his ear.
Yeah. Weird one there. But hey, for once, Mike, we didn't. One of our mid-show takes.
Good thing we ordered them like that too, right after.
I know we ordered it perfectly.
Was it 2 minutes after he finished it? I mean, my God.
And it aged extremely well because we both were like, "Yeah, he's getting traded."
We said 99%, and then it confirmed.
And then he instantly got traded. So we look really good. For once, it's the opposite of the Elijah Moore thing, where we're like, "Guys, they're not trading Elijah Moore. Don't worry." And then they instantly trade him.
So Michael Carter will be a Philadelphia Eagle. John Mechie, your newest New York Jet.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, we finished up on Lazard. Let's quickly run through the last two here, which is both edge rushers. Jermaine Johnson. The argument in favor of keeping him is you have him under contract next year. He is the best defensive end on your roster at a position group that is already weak. And he
emotional leader.
I was going to say, he brings that Jarvis Brownlee aspect where there is a level of intensity that he brings to that defense that is not matched by a lot of guys in that unit. So that's the argument in favor of keeping him. The argument against it would be, well, he's coming off that injury. He's been a little banged up this year too. He's a very good player. I don't think he's great at anything, but he's a very good player. And if you're not wanting to extend him, maybe you do prioritize the pass rush upside in Will McDonald, and somebody is willing to offer you maybe a 2nd round pick. Like that would probably be like, if somebody offers a 2nd for Jermaine, then it's a real conversation. That would be the argument in favor of getting rid of him, right? The argument in favor of keeping him, I think, is very obvious where, it's again, best player at a position of need, emotional leader, all the stuff that I just said. I would be very surprised if the Jets traded Jermaine Johnson.
And furious.
Yes, I also would be upset. And based on Jermaine Johnson's messaging and what he has told reporters, it sounds like Jermaine Johnson would also be very surprised if he was traded.
I didn't think that I'd be that upset about losing a guy who was 1 sack in like 5 or 6 games, but as bad as the defense was against the Bengals last week,
right.
Look at this team when Jermaine Johnson plays and when he doesn't play. 2 totally different teams. He's a guy, I wouldn't even consider it, mostly because if you look at what you're going to get for him, it's going to be a 4th round pick. If you trade Jermaine Johnson for a 4th round pick, Darren Muji.
Disastrous. That would be
that would be a disaster.
I would be stunned if they did that. Also, I'm furious, but I'd be stunned.
So yeah, I barely even want to go deeper into it and speak it into existence, and not to act like Jermaine's some world beater, because he's really not, but he's a guy that I wouldn't give the pass rusher market's getting crazy. Aiden Hutchinson getting 45 mil, but he's a guy that I would overpay what he might have normally got to keep him, because I think he's a guy who really does want to be part of this turnaround.
Agreed.
And I don't think you can just replace him. You can maybe replace some of him as a pass rusher, but really good run defender, high effort guy, leader guy. This is the type of trade a young team should not make.
Now, what about Will McDonald? That's the other edge rusher that is getting in these trade conversations. I think there's a world that makes sense for the Jets to trade Will McDonald, but much like the other guys we've talked about on the show, you have to get the right deal. You're not trading Will McDonald for a 4th-round pick. I've been lower on McDonald than most, but
even with that, McDonald, I think, is the benefit of a roster that I don't want to say they need Will McDonald, but we was talking about what would the pass rush be without Jermaine Johnson?
No,
how are the Jets going to sack the quarterback without Will McDonald's speed? How are they going to do it?
This current roster absolutely needs Will McDonald. And I say that as someone who has, again, been very critical of him and not nearly as high on McDonald as others. He is the best pure pass rusher on this roster. And if you trade Will McDonald, you are opening the door for Michael Clemens snaps, for Braden McGregor snaps, for Tyler Barron snaps. And that is not a good thing. The argument in favor of trading him would be he's kind of a one-trick pony. He is not developed as a run defender. The Jets hope that putting on extra weight this offseason would make him better in that regard. I don't think he's really gotten much better. Maybe
a little bit.
Maybe marginally, but he's still
not enough. He went from worst in the league to below average.
He might still be about all right up there in the worst in the league, dude.
Is he really? I thought I remember he had a couple weeks where he was doing all right.
He had a couple. Well, let me check actually. I mean, not the PFF grades or everything, but well, he's not worse than Braden McGregor, so that's something.
Well, that's not hard to do.
He's 44.9 PFF run defense grade. It's up there. It's up there among the worst.
This is not the 20s. At least it's not Savanaya being a 2.
His what's his missed tackle rate this year? Well, it's come down. It was 34.4 last year.
Oh God.
It's only 27.8 this year.
Better. So
he's got marginally better. But that, that's the argument in favor of that. And, I don't know if I'm going to want to extend Will McDonald when the time comes, for that conversation, but you don't need to make that decision now. He's drafted in 2023. You have at least another 2 years of team control on him, or, 2023, 2024. You have at least another year, like this year plus next year, and then you could pick up his 5th-year option if you wanted to. So you have plenty of years.
That would be 2 years of team control,
correct.
Yes.
Well, that's what I said at minimum. They don't have to pick up his 5th-year option. But yeah, you have team control. You don't have to make that decision now unless some team comes calling. I think a second I would do for Will McDonald. I don't think anything less than that I would consider. A second I would strongly consider.
Even a third if it's high up enough in the order.
Yeah, if a third if it's high up enough.
Top 75, I think might be my.
Yeah, like if the Titans are asking or giving you a 3rd-round pick, I'm probably taking that.
That would be a horrible move, but hey, the Titans gave us Brownlee for nothing. So
right. I'm not trusting that front office right now.
So yeah, McDonald. And again, I don't love Will McDonald. I like what he could be, and I think there are times in games where you see him put it all together, and you're like, "Wow, that was a great play. That was a great sack."
Mm-hmm.
They don't come nearly enough as much as they should. But again, this team, we not joke around, but we always say, "Oh man, imagine the Jets running back room without Breece Hall. Imagine this pass rush room without Will McDonald."
Yeah,
and they've played some of the easier offensive lines to pressure, like Miami, Cincinnati. I mean, the only sack they got on Cincinnati's terrible offensive line with can barely move Joe Flacco was McDonald at the end of the game, and it was like a coverage sack, pretty much. Yep. That was it. So this team, imagine when they go up against some of the better offensive lines on the schedule, what they're going to do.
I would put it at.
They get the Browns this week. The Browns might be the worst offensive line in the league.
They face so many terrible offensive lines. It's actually kind of crazy.
I just think there's not a lot of good offensive lines anymore. I think with the way that the practices are with the CBA, it's just hard to get good offensive linemen now.
That's valid. And I think offensive line development is something you can look at the college level where it's been really stunning.
And defensive line athletes are getting freakier every single year. And
which makes you appreciate what the Jets have on their offensive line. I'll tell you that. A couple of comments here really quick. Trexter said, came back to the stream as soon as I heard the trade. Of course, John Mechie for Michael Carter. Funny thing, you two talking about trades happening during the stream. Yeah, I literally seconds before that or minutes before that, we said, yeah, Michael Carter's probably getting traded. We wrapped up that combo. And then 2 minutes later, Michael Carter gets traded. Brian with a different take than what we've said, is Carter's a Pro Bowl caliber nickel with two $10 million option years, nothing guaranteed for injury. If I was an Eagles fan, I'd love this trade. If you're getting the Pro Bowl caliber Michael Carter, then yeah.
And again, like that you'd have
there.
to put him in the role where DeJean is now, and you're not going to move DeJean out of that to accommodate him.
I don't know if that player is still there. Like, that's the problem. I just don't know how much he has physically left at this stage. Maybe he does. Maybe it's just, rotten luck with the injuries over the last couple of years. It's been the back and it's the shoulder. And, maybe you put him in a defense that's a little less demanding on his body. He can hold up and play some good football for the next 4 or 5 years. I don't know. It's a risk that they're clearly willing to take for virtually nothing. So I get that.
Hold on a minute, Ian Rappaport. Eagles are trading for Jets' versatile cornerback, Michael Carter. Versatile?
He's not versatile.
You can only play him in one scheme, in one role.
They just throw adjectives out there. The agent gave him an adjective to say, so he's like, all right, I'll say that one.
He's
not versatile. I mean, versatile if you want to say he can play safety, but I also don't know. He's 5'9", Mike? He's 5'9", 175 pounds.
And he has trouble tackling anyway.
That's not a guy I really want starting at safety.
You know what Philly fans don't like? Missed tackles. Because it doesn't look like you're tough. You think they're going to take kindly to any growing pains for Michael Carter?
I don't think any fan base wants that. Brian,
I know, but especially them.
Brian clarified, I don't hate it from the Jets side. I just think the Eagles got the better end of it. If Carter is the player he was, then yeah. If Carter can get back to his pre-injury, or really I'll say 2023 form, because now the last 2 years, he's been very bad, really, really bad.
And I'll say this, Bryce Huff went from Saleh scheme to Vic Fangio to Saleh. Pretty good, unplayable, pretty good again. Michael Carter.
Hey, easy on the pretty good. He was great.
Unplayable.
Yeah. And then decent. Bad. Great. Yeah. But Bryce Huff, let's not.
Michael Carter then goes from Saleh. Great. Then he goes to Fangio again. Well, if Fangio's scheme is apparently schematically not very similar to Saleh, because look at what happened with Huff.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's good if you get Pro Bowl Michael Carter. I just think there's three big things that have to go right for that to happen. And I don't really see the Eagles having not the infrastructure. I don't really see them taking either of the steps to do that.
Yeah. Brian said upside is much higher for the Eagles than the Jets. I agree.
Absolutely, yes.
100%. He said they don't have as much risk. I mean, the Jets don't have any risk. What risk did they take on with John Mechie? He's on the
flyer.
There's no risk there. Anyway, let's quickly look at a few players of the Jets, because clearly the Jets are not just looking to sell; they're looking to buy, as they just did. They did both. They traded for John Mechie as well as trading away Michael Carter. Now, the fact that the Jets traded for a wide receiver might mess with a couple of guys that we were kind of planning to talk about. But Mike, I know there's one wide receiver that you were looking at the Jets potentially acquiring in a trade. You wanna talk about that guy real quick?
Jawan M.F. and Jennings.
Hell yeah.
He is one of my top free agent targets. Great blocker. Third and Jawan, they call him because the dude's so clutch.
Mm-hmm.
Needs a new deal. Here's my fantasy scenario. You trade Quincy to the 49ers. Walk with me here. You trade Quincy to the 49ers.
Walking.
Instead of taking the draft capital, you say, let's do Jawan Jennings. I don't know about straight up, but as close as you can get. Both sides then hammer out extensions for Quincy with San Francisco, because I think him and Fred Warner together that's a hell of a linebacker tandem.
Yeah, that's a fun.
That is a fun. Now, again, they don't pay two linebackers, whatever. Saleh would.
I bet Saleh would make sure Quincy.
Saleh would, yeah. And then you pay Jawan Jennings what he would have gotten in free agency. You get out ahead of that. And then now those are your top two wide receivers, Garrett Wilson and Jawan Jennings. I think you're perfectly happy with that if you're the Jets.
Yeah. No, I agree. You wrote an article about this as well. I believe that went up today on the Jet Press. And you mentioned that to me, I think it was yesterday. You texted that to me and I was like, ooh, there's an idea. Jennings, of course.
Because I like the idea of just beating guys to the punch in free agency and saying, all right, let's avoid, because they do that with the draft picks a lot. Let's draft a guy in the 7th round so he doesn't hit undrafted free agency.
Yep.
Yeah, let's just go get him. We don't have a bidding war. Even if we pay a little more, we get our guy, kind of thing.
Yeah. Jennings, of course, requested a trade already in the summer, I believe it was. Now, I don't think the Niners are in a position to just be trading away healthy bodies, because they're really lacking in healthy bodies, especially at wide receiver. But Jennings, his role is really decreased this year. I think he is under 200 yards on the season. So it seems pretty clear to me.
Though, so.
He's been banged up, yeah, but it seems pretty clear to me that he is probably not going to be on the roster next year. So even though they're not necessarily in the business of trading away healthy bodies. It would make sense to me a lot. And I think the idea of a Jawan Jennings, Quincy Williams swap makes a ton of sense. And he gives you what Lazard's given you with the blocking. He's a physical, big body dude who, I mean, he's good after the catch as well. He offers a lot more after the catch than a guy like Lazard does, but also can be the physical, I don't want to say like jump ball receiver, but he can do that. That's not necessarily like, he's not like a downfield jump ball receiver necessarily, but he can do that a lot more than really anybody else in this roster probably can at the moment. I was going to look at a wide receiver as well, Mike. And I still will, even after the Mechie trade. I don't think the Mechie trade necessarily takes him out of the running and the market for a wide receiver. I was trying to look at what are some, what are the trend that the Jets have followed with a lot of these trades? Well, Jarvis Brownlee still on a rookie contract. Juwan Briggs still on a rookie contract. Guys who have kind of fallen out of favor with their teams, but have a degree of upside and are on very cheap team-friendly contracts. And my mind immediately went to Adonai Mitchell in Indianapolis. That was where my mind immediately went. Now, the obvious red flags with him, well, he's got some, I don't know if we want to call it personality stuff.
A touch of the Malachi Corley in him, too.
He does. Obviously, he had the Malachi Corley incident where different, though. Like,
it was worse because it was a 75-yard touchdown.
No, that was the only loss. My defense of Mitchell was he didn't do what players normally do where they drop it short of the goal line. He tried to just like pick it up in the air to celebrate. And in doing so,
isn't that worse?
I don't know, but it's different. I don't know. That's up to you to determine, but it's different. It is definitely different than what other guys have done. So that's my defense for him, but he's fallen out of favor in Indianapolis. I believe he was a healthy scratch. He's been benched after that, unfortunately brutal mistake. Very, very fun player. I think a little redundant to what Arian Smith gives you, but I think he's just a better player than Arian Smith. He's going to be someone that you're probably running very similar route tree to Arian Smith. A lot of go routes, a lot of posts, a lot of digs. Like that's kind of what Arian Smith's route tree diet is right now as well. But I think Mitchell is better. He's not, I mean, I don't even want to say he's not as fast. I think he ran like a 4.34 or 4.
Yeah, the upside is obvious.
Yeah, he very much is similar to Arian Smith. I think he's got better hands than Arian Smith. He's not necessarily the most consistent.
Does he? We never see them throw at Arian Smith. Maybe he fixed that issue. We don't know.
Who knows?
He'll throw at him.
He hasn't dropped a pass this year. He's had catchable passes, Arian Smith, that he hasn't been able to haul in, but he hasn't I don't think he's recorded like a drop. But Adonai Mitchell, one drop over his last 2 years at Texas. He's not someone that I think is going to consistently win in contested catch situations. He's just not physical enough for that. Like he's like 6'1", 190 pounds, but he doesn't play like he's a strong wide receiver, but he's much better at high pointing the ball. If I remember watching him back at Texas, if I remember what we were seeing there, I think he's much better at high pointing the ball than Arian Smith. I just think he's a better player than Arian Smith. Now, if you trade for him, you're kind of saying, well, we're just getting a better version of the guy we just drafted. But I don't think the guy you drafted in the 4th round, who was a unanimous UDFA 7th round talent, should prevent you from acquiring a player like Mitchell, who, I mean, you could probably get him for like a 6th round pick, maximum at this point. You might get him for less. Like it depends on how out on him Indianapolis is, but I think that's someone you should sniff around the market and at least see what it might cost to get.
I was looking at Dallas for a couple. Before I want to get to a couple comments before we call it a day here on the show. I'm looking at guys like Jalen Tolbert on Dallas who may just need a fresh coat of paint. I'm looking at James Houston, kind of a speedy edge rusher, worse run defender than Will McDonald, but he gets to the freaking quarterback and no one else on this team does. Maybe like even a Sam Williams, who again may just need a fresh coat of paint because again, the Cowboys, they're in a position where they actually have drafted, I think, pretty well with like some edge guys like Ezeraku and Marshawn Nealon. This gets some of the old guard out of there, and I think actually Steve Wilkes' defense might be a little bit. One of the few defensive coordinators I think is worse than Steve Wilkes and Matt Eberflus. And I think leaving Matt Eberflus, that might actually help both of them. A couple comments really quick there, unless you got one more big name you want, Justin.
I was going to throw out a few names. We don't have to go into these, but a few names that I wrote down because I was trying to do some research, see who might be available. So see who would fit what the Jets are looking for, both from a positional standpoint and like contract age perspective. A few other names I wrote down. We've talked about him before, Mike. Jalen Tolbert, I think is somebody that could make sense. I think he's also on the last year of his deal, but another Cowboys guy. Maybe you get some sort of a swap there. Brandon Coleman, offensive lineman of the Commanders, was left tackle last year, got moved to guard, and has been benched. I don't necessarily think they need, like a starting offensive lineman, but I think he'd be very quality depth. He's only in the second year.
It's underrated how good Josh Myers has been this year after a lot of questions.
He's been good. He's definitely been good. But, maybe Coleman is insurance in case you don't re-sign Simpson and or Vera Tucker, if you're looking for a right guard replacement next year, maybe Coleman can be that guy. I think that's someone you could sniff around that market. Christian Harris, linebacker of the Houston Texans, used to be a starter for them a couple years ago, has really not been a starter in recent times. As Austrian Jets fan, donates 10 gifted memberships. Thank you so much, Austrian Jet fan. You're the second person to donate some memberships today. It is much appreciated. Once again, he's funding the show at this point. Shout out the entire nation of Austria. He's carrying it on its back. He's carrying the nation of Austria's Jets fandom on his back. Much appreciated always, my friend. But yeah, Christian Harris, another name there where, if you trade Quincy, maybe you want to take a flyer on a guy like Harris, who he is also much like John Mechie entering the last year of his rookie contract, but not playing much in Houston. He has been a starter in the past. Maybe that's somebody you could take a flyer on. Edge rusher Arnold Ebiketie, former Penn State guy. He's kind of buried in that depth chart in Atlanta because they got Jalen Walker. They got James Pierce. His name has popped up in trade rumors. Cody Barton, if you're looking for a little bit of a 2026 linebacker replacement for Quincy Williams, was really good with Denver last year, signed a 3-year, $21 million contract with the Titans this offseason, and has not been great. No one really in Tennessee has, but I think they like Cedric Gray a lot, and I think Barton could be available for the right price, and he's under contract for the next couple of years, so maybe if you think he can be a viable linebacker next to Sherwood, he's also a bigger guy too, so I think he's a better fit next to Sherwood than Quincy Williams would be. And then I also wrote down Jalen Hyatt. I don't really have any interest there, but it's a wide receiver that's available. I don't
like getting the Giants trash a lot.
Yeah, I'm not a Jalen Hyatt guy. Also, maybe Darrell Taylor, edge rusher in Houston, and then Jalen Naylor, wide receiver in Minnesota. A couple of guys on expiring contracts as well that I think maybe could be traded, that fit needs that the Jets could be looking for. I threw out a lot of names there just because maybe I'll hit one of them and I'll look.
A couple of comments on Carter before we call it out, which has really prompted some discussion here. NYJ, don't tell NB. The reason the Jets do this is because the coaching staff coaches the talent for their schemes. That is correct. He just didn't fit. He didn't fit what they were asking him to do.
He didn't fit. He didn't fit what they were asking him to do, and he's been bad 2 years.
And Brownlee was such an immediate upgrade. Not to make it out like he's been the best trade acquisition ever, because he's not a perfect player, but you watch those early games where 30's out there and when 29's out there, you could tell.
Right.
And then Chew.
Hold on, really quick. Brian said Cowboys don't sell often. They sell anybody since Everson Griffin? Yeah, Micah Parsons.
Okay.
Yeah, come on, man.
I know somebody that we work with that wouldn't like that comment. And then Chew one more. He said, I'm disappointed MC2 got traded. He was part of the young core I hope they could be building around. I mean, injuries suck, man. Injuries suck and scheme changes suck. And those two things killed him. And look, Wilkes might not be here much longer, but Glenn wants to play press man, and Michael Carter can't do that.
And you have an obvious upgrade already on the roster.
Yes.
And, like I said this on Sunday, I repeated this a lot on Sunday. And I think I've said this a lot this year. Narratives change very quickly in the NFL. 2 years ago, Michael Carter was the best. I mean, literally a little over a year ago, Michael Carter was the best nickel corner in the NFL. That was the conversation we were having. He got extended in September 2024? It was not that long ago. He was the best nickel corner in the NFL. He was viewed as a cornerstone of the roster. Narratives change very quickly. Injuries happen. Performance declines. You get a new coaching staff in there. Players are traded. Happens all the time. I wish him all the best, and I hope Brian is right in that he can regain his form and be a really good player for the Eagles. I'd be very happy for him, but he was not going to have a future with the Jets.
NYJ, Mike, one last thing. Brownlee's that guy. Love the pick. It just made it. He might have been a fringe guy without the Brownlee acquisition. If they were just looking for guys to churn in and out, the fact that they have him made it such an easy decision.
Okay, before we sign off, Mike, I teased this to you before we went live. I said, you don't remember what I said? I said that I had something diabolical. I had a diabolical thought in the back of my head because I want to celebrate Halloween. And I thought in my head, but I thought too late. I was like, we should dress up.
I'm going to log off so hard very soon, man.
No, hold on. No, this is totally not your thing. You don't like doing anything like you don't.
So like that's been established. So
you don't like making a fool of yourself, but I don't mind it. I don't know. I don't mind it at all.
No.
So here's what I thought of 5 minutes before the show. So mind you, again, I can't stress this enough. I had 5 minutes of preparation for this. So I didn't have time to do a lot, but I
just do it, man.
I didn't even do this. All right. I'm going to show you 3, not even costumes.
What is it?
I'm getting to it. I'm going to show you 3 props, and you have to tell me or guess what Jet related person, player, figure, whatever
What are we talking about, man?
Okay? This is now that I'm saying this out loud, it sounds more
yes,
like
yes, we're doing charades. All right, we're gonna call it.
No, hold on. This sounds way more like charades than Halloween. I didn't realize that, but it's okay. I've already committed.
I'll do one, and then
okay. No, we're doing 3. We're doing 3. I have.
Oh, this is a shambles. Okay.
And everyone in chat can play along too. I don't mind making a fool of myself, Mike. I don't. I'm on the internet. I don't care. All right. First one. This one's easy. Well, should be relatively easy. All right. Well, this is the least.
It's a trash can, and it's.
I do, dude. Actually, low key. Hold on. Unrelated. I have a Jets trash can.
is that not the most fitting gift ever?
But that's not the prop. First prop, Mike. Who am I?
Okay, so where'd you even get that? Get that off of you, Packers fan.
Where do you think I got?
I don't know. Online, I don't know.
Where would I get? No, I got this in Green Bay.
Where were you in Lambeau?
A couple years ago, I went for a preseason game. Weirdly enough,
was that the Zach Wilson game where you went nuts?
No, it was not a Jet. It was the Jets were not playing. It was Packers or someone else. It was not a Jets game. Yeah. So I'm Sauce Gardner.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, you got it. All right, great, perfect.
This is so haphazard. It's.
Well, I literally in 5 minutes, I'm like, what props can I grab that could be Jets related? Thank you.
Or you could have not done it. That's the other.
Please play along in chat. Thank you so much. A couple people saying Sauce as well. Absolutely excellent.
Oh God.
Okay, great.
All right.
Here we go. Okay, now this one is a stretch. Brian also said Le Sauce. Very good. Very good. This one's a stretch, Mike, and I need you to bear with me. Okay.
I don't like qualifying it like that.
So, okay, here's cat food. Okay, ready? Listen. Here's some cat food, but this isn't just any cat food, Mike. This is savory salmon feast. Okay, and if I were to eat this and I were to get food poisoning, who would that make me? Do you know the reference that I'm going for?
Denzel Mims.
Yes, that's correct. That would make me Denzel Mims.
Well ruined his career.
2 of 2.
Actually, had salmon last night. Actual salmon.
Did you?
Yeah. Not cat food like you're talking about, but yeah.
I didn't. Okay. I had 5 minutes. I couldn't go to the store and pick up some salmon. I was like, I have cat food. Let me see if any of them are salmon. And by luck, one of them was. So there you go. That's 2. You're 2 for 2. Okay.
I hate that I'm 2 for 2.
The third one. Now you're gonna hate this one.
Oh God.
So much more. I was looking for props that could relate to this, right? And I couldn't really find much.
What?
So this is once again a stretch.
You're doing like an online brownie recipe where you get to paragraph 9 before you get the thing out.
I have to mentally prepare myself for what I'm about to do. Okay. This is on the internet.
Yes,
okay,
yeah,
yes. Here's a pair of socks.
Oh God.
Here's a pair of socks.
Oh God.
If I were to, I really love these socks. Specifically, I really love what these socks.
Are you listening to yourself?
What these socks? I don't want to say something. I don't want to say something that could get clipped. But I love
Nick
these
Folk.
socks.
I don't know.
These socks. No. I love these. What do you?
I don't know. Please.
Oh my God, you're getting tortured. This is crazy. What do you put socks on? You know what you put socks on?
Your feet.
Come on. You put them on your feet. And so if I were to say that I love feet.
Thank you for tuning into the Jeff Press podcast. You know where to find us on all Apple, Google, Spotify, Overcast. Wherever you get your podcast, Justin has decided to derail the show at the end. We will be back this Sunday. Not this Sunday, actually, because the Jets have a bye week. We will be back next Sunday after their game against the Cleveland Browns. We'll be back next Wednesday, too, because we'll do probably our trade deadline recap show once Brees maybe gets traded or something like that. Oh, no. Okay.
Did you not? Wait, did you not?
I did get it, but I didn't want to.
Oh, okay.
You said 3 words that can be clipped very easily. And in the name of integrity of the show, I made an executive decision.
Whatever, man. I'm on the internet.
Mike doesn't know who you are anymore.
I think Mike's just finding out who I am. Well, not to say that the latter part is who I am. I'm just somebody who makes a fool of myself.
Oh, I've known that.
Not the other thing. But anyway.
I saw you do Natasha
karaoke in
Bedingfield
Phoenix.
karaoke.
You saw me do Natasha Bedingfield and ABBA
ABBA karaoke
on stage in front of 75
Yes.
of our coworkers. So you know who I am. Anyway, I hope you all have a great Halloween. I hope that was.
Please put
mildly
more effort
entertaining
into
for
your
anybody who
costumes
comes
than
down.
charades, man over here.
That really just
It was
charades,
sure. It was
wasn't
exactly
it?
sure. It wasn't
It
even
wasn't
charade.
Halloween
Charade you
at all.
acted out.
Well, the
It was
first
like
one was kind of a
Pictionary.
costume. The first one was kind of a costume because I wore something. The other two were straight up
Yes.
props I was holding.
You
in my
found shit on your floor and said this is part of a Halloween costume.
I was like, I had 5 minutes. I should have done more.
Oh
planning. That's
dear.
on me.
All right.
Would you have liked it? Would you have liked it if I had an actual costume for Rex Ryan?
That would have actually, yeah, because you probably would have had that fake gut, yeah.
Oh,
With the,
yeah,
the
fat
sweater
suit
he
would
wore,
have
yeah.
Oh, that would have been funny. And then I could have bought a fake prosthetic.
Get those big veneers he has that are coming out of his head.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that, Mike. I hope that was fun for you. It was fun for me. Anyway, like Mike said, we'll be back on Wednesday doing our next show. We'll be off this Sunday, a little reprieve from Jets football, although maybe we don't want to reprieve because they just got to win. So maybe we want to see more Jets football. I think it was Aaron Glenn that said, man, I wish we were playing a game this Sunday.
Can I say something? One serious thing. If the Jets were good, who want to fly with them Jets was so
pretty sick.
horrible.
Yes. Ooh.
That it would have been, oh my God. Can we please, can he please be good as a coach, please?
I know, dude. We didn't get to talk about it as much, but I'm so happy for Aaron Glenn. I'm so happy for Justin Fields that just for emotionally.
That was the longest we went into a show with no Justin Fields talk.
Oh, yeah. We didn't talk about him at all. We're talking about trade stuff, and he's not getting traded. So, but anyway, thank you all for joining us on the show today. You can follow Mike on Twitter @ByMichaelChannel. Follow me on Twitter, Justin T. Fried. Follow Jet Press at the Jet Press. Download the Jet Press podcast where you get your podcasts. Check us out on YouTube and TikTok. Subscribe, hit that notification bell. You could also become a member today. We had 15 memberships gifted today. Thank you so much to Mother Effin' Chew and Austrian Jet Fan. You guys are the best. We stream live every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time and live immediately following every single Jets game. Thank you all for listening to Jet Press Podcast and have a happy Halloween. I've been Justin Fried. That's Mike Luciano.
Now remember, Halloween, you need a costume. You don't just find stuff in your room and say, I'm this.
I'll remember that for next time.